I had an 8-figure entrepreneur and real estate investor in my studio filming a podcast the other day, and he said something that completely shifted the way that I think about business. This man has been doing business for almost 50 years, and he tells me, Christian, business isn't about selling products or services. It has nothing to do with money at all. Money is a hoax. And I asked him, what do you mean by that? He said, business and investing are about two things: reputation and trust. And then he explained something that made the entire thing click for me. There are investors who can buy properties worth millions of dollars without ever going to see them. They don't have to chase the opportunity. They don't have to beg a bank for financing. They don't have to spend weeks convincing everybody that they're qualified. The banks call them. He's like, hey, my friends, they get calls all the time. Like, hey, we have this property. Are you interested? Why? Because the investor has spent decades developing a reputation. They have a history of payoff. They have credibility to follow through. They've delivered real results with their investments. And now they have access to a 9-figure credit line because the institution already knows who they're dealing with. Think about that. Before the transaction ever happens, the trust already exists. And how does that apply to you? That's exactly what your content should be doing for your business. Your content should be building so much trust with the right people that when they finally need what you sell, you're not convincing them of anything. They're already confident that you're the person they want helping solve their problem. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. How to make content that actually gets you clients, not just followers, not just likes, not just views or clicks, clients. And I'm going to show you 4 lessons that I've learned over the last 7 years of bootstrapping my multiple 6-figure businesses and completely changed the way that I think about content. So let's get into it. Lesson number 1, trust is the real currency of business. People don't actually buy products. They buy confidence in an outcome. Think about it. If 2 people offered you the exact same service, same deliverables, same timeline, same price, but one person has spent 3 years teaching you, teaching others, helping you, showing you everything about their methodology, their frameworks, documenting their processes, their results, answering your questions, and demonstrating to you their expertise, and you have never heard about the other person at all, who would you choose? Probably the person that you develop trust with, right? The service didn't change, the trust did. And that's why my mentor's statement was so powerful. The bank isn't necessarily calling that investor because they suddenly discovered some secret property. They're calling him because he has accumulated enough trust over time to create access. And there's a word I want you to remember throughout this video: compound. Trust compounds, reputation compounds, authority compounds, and your content can compound too. And that's the part that most business owners actually miss. They look at a video and ask, how many views did I get? How much impressions or reach did this get for me? That's the way that they think about long-form content, and even short-form content for that matter. But I look at a video and I ask, how much trust did this create? How much time did my audience spend with me this week? Those are 2 completely different pathways of thought. You can have 500,000 people watch something and generate almost 0 business from it, right? Or you can have 1,500 people of the right people watch something and generate 5 clients from it, right? If those 5 clients are worth $500, $5,000, or even $50,000 each, depending on your offer and the lifetime value, how much could that produce in terms of returns from that one video and opportunities? This is especially important if you're a founder, business owner, or creator. You don't necessarily need millions of people following you or your brand. Sure, it could boost your ego, but honestly, 60 to 90% of those people aren't ever going to make a purchase with you. Just because brands have a large following, it doesn't mean that they produce the best results. They might have chased trends and went viral, but in reality, you need the right people to believe the right things about you. That's the game. The right person, that you have the solution to the right problem, seeing the right messaging, developing the right belief until eventually taking action with you. That's how marketing works. That's how branding works. That's how business works. And that's why I think we've gotten content completely backwards. We've been taught to get more followers, post more reels, jump on this trend train, right? Go viral, use this hook, all of this random content stuff, and expect for it to convert. But more content doesn't automatically create more trust or conversions. Sometimes it creates more noise. And if your audience doesn't trust you, they won't buy in. Traffic simply gives more people the opportunity not to buy from you. I think about trust being the main factor of driving more volume. Because if I can activate enough trust with people, I can also multiply that opportunity with them. Now, here's an opportunity for you. Go download the Brand in Demand playbook and start filling out the content guide to help develop more content that establishes trust with your audience today. The link is in the description, so just go check it out. It's free. It'll help you as you guide through your message, your offer, and your brand so that you can connect with your audience in the right way. Okay, let's get back to it. Lesson number 2, your content should pre-sell your offer. Your reputation used to be built primarily by what people said about you when you weren't in the room. And really evidently that is still true. But now there's another room, a massive room, the internet and AI search engines, right? Before somebody hires you, they're already researching you. They're going through your social medias. They're going through your videos, your posts, your website. They're listening to your podcast. They're seeing your reviews, your comments, right? They check everything that's associated with you and they look for the results. And here's what's crazy about that is that you may never know that they're actually doing it. But really 100% of my sales have come from online channels for the MK Lab. And either in the tracking we set up or forums or funnels or website, when they come in, the client says, I either found you on ChatGPT or I found you on Google. I saw a clip on socials and I had to try it for myself. And there's literally somebody watching this video right now who has probably never commented on anything I've posted. They probably never walked into the studio. They've never even sent me a DM and we've never even spoken. I don't even know their name, but you know something about me. Maybe you've seen me from another video. Maybe Instagram showed you a reel. Maybe somebody sent you my content, or maybe you've been watching quietly for months. And that's how modern buying behavior works. People investigate you before they identify themselves to you. So your content needs to start having conversations with your prospects you don't even know exist. That's why I tell business owners your content should become your 24/7 marketing and sales team. It should be doing all the work while you're sleeping. Quite literally, I woke up the other morning and had leads from the night before signing up for my events list and opt-in for my workshop waitlist, because somebody literally can discover you at 11:30 at night or 1 in the morning. Watch your YouTube video, look at your Instagram, visit your website, read about your offer, sign up for an opt-in, and make a buying decision before you even wake up. And that's real leverage. But there's a catch to that. If your content is going to represent you when you're not there, what is it saying? Imagine sending a car salesperson at a dealership who couldn't explain the difference in a car, a van, or a truck, who it's for, why it's of value to their customer, or when the customer asks for a test drive, they can't even open the car or turn it on. Probably not the best opportunity to convert into a sale. But that's exactly what a lot of business owners' content is doing every single day. Random quotes, clips, and trends because their agency said to try this and that. But for you, it doesn't connect with your audience and actually can portray you as an influencer or an internet personality, not an authority figure. You see, your audience should be able to consume 5 to 10 pieces of your content and start saying, I know what this person believes. I know who they help. I understand their process. They understand my problems, right? They've done this before. I like the way that they think. And eventually they say, I want their help. And that's what I mean when I say your content should pre-sell your offer. Not pressure somebody into buying into you, but pre-sell them. There's a massive difference in that, right? Selling says, let me convince you, while pre-selling says, you've consumed enough, you've seen me enough times, there's enough evidence here. You do the convincing yourselves. You come into agreement yourself. And by the way, everything that I just described is what we build for businesses at Mercairos. And if you want access to a simple guide for that and setting that up for yourself, check out the Brand in Demand playbook. The link is in the description. Okay, lesson number 3. Most content gets views, very little creates demand. Most founders really mess this up because you can hear everything I've said so far and think, okay, Christian, I'll just make better educational content. And that's not exactly the case, right? Educational content by itself doesn't necessarily sell either. You can teach people everything you know, right? And that'll represent you as an expert. And they can think that you're incredibly intelligent and still never hire you. Why? Because information in today's terms is really commoditized now with AI. People need deeper connection and real transformation, right? This is where I want you to separate two businesses, the creator business and the expertise business. If your primary business model is monetizing attention, then views matter tremendously. More eyeballs can mean more sponsorship revenue, platform revenue, and brand deals and opportunities. But if you're a business owner selling expertise, consulting, coaching, right, professional services, or some other high value opportunity, then your objective is a little bit different. You're not merely monetizing attention, you're turning that attention into trust and that trust into demand and the demand into more clients, right? That's a little bit two different strategies you can be comparing across. And I highly recommend doing the latter if you're a professional service business, right? The latter allows you to control when you get paid and how you get paid, and does not necessarily make you always on with your content. You're not becoming a full-time content creator. Let me give you an example. Imagine a financial advisor creates 5 ways to save money this month. Useful? Sure. But who's it for? College students, millionaires, family making $70,000, founders making $700,000, a retiree, everyone? Who is it really for? Now imagine the same advisor creates content about why business owners making $500,000 are often investing their personal wealth backwards. Now we have something that in the title identifies somebody. It exposes a potential problem. It creates tension. It suggests real expertise. And the right person immediately thinks, wait, I'm a business owner and I make around that amount. And what am I doing wrong? Completely different positioning. That's why one of the biggest mistakes I see founders making is talking about what they know instead of talking about what their buyer needs to believe. Don't only ask, what do I know? Ask, what does my ideal client need to believe before buying? They may need to believe that their current strategy isn't working. They may need to believe that the problem is costing them more time than they realize. They may need to believe that there's another way, methodology, framework, or investment they're capable of making to achieve a result. And they definitely need to believe that they can trust you if they're going to work with you. And your content should do just that. It should create agreements with them every single time. So here's something practical. Pull up the last 10 posts after this video and ask yourself 4 questions. Number 1, who specifically was this for? Number 2, what problem did this address? Number 3, what belief did it create? And number 4, where did it move the person next? Lesson number 4, build a content engine, not a content calendar. This is where everything changed for me. Stop thinking about content as an individual post. Start thinking about it as an actual system. Because here's what happens with most entrepreneurs. Monday comes, you ask your team, what should we post, right? Somebody has an idea, your agency has an idea, so you go out, you film it. By Tuesday, comes around, you ask a question again, what should we post? Another idea comes around, Wednesday comes, we ask, what do we post? That's pretty exhausting and incredibly difficult to scale, right? I learned that lesson the hard way when I was running my restaurant at Smack and Guam Mini Grill. I was involved in every single decision for the better half of 4 years out of the 6 years that we were there. You know, from ops to marketing, people, problems, sales, everything. And eventually you realize anything that consistently and constantly depends on you and your immediate effort becomes a bottleneck. That's why I believe systems matter. I learned that through my restaurant experience that without standards, systems, and discipline, that business eventually drifts towards mediocrity. And I also learned firsthand that what happens when marketing systems aren't intentionally built, that marketing gets pushed aside while more urgent matters take over. Content is no different. If your marketing strategy depends on you waking up inspired, researching trends, and just mirroring what top creators or businesses are doing, you don't have a marketing strategy, you have a reaction strategy. So start asking, what does your business need the market to understand? What problems do they need to recognize? What objections do they need to be removed? What stories need to be told? What proof needs to be demonstrated? What beliefs need to be changed, and what expertise needs to be brought? As the business owner, what does somebody need to understand before they're ready to buy? Now we're actually building something that you can take to a long form content creation like this and strategically turn that into a 30-piece content, social media post, etc. But here's the most important part. Repurposing does not mean chopping a 20-minute video into 20 random clips and just throwing them everywhere. You need to create your buckets. Tofu, mofu, bofu, that separates your videos into a full funnel system. So some will focus on awareness while others strategically focus on conversion. Now your content has a job. And when your content has a job, you can start building an engine around that. That's ultimately what we've developed into our process, which we call the scale framework. Synchronize strategy, create content that connects to your offer, activate your content engine, learn from the data, and expand on what's winning. Now, I'm not going to unpack the entire system here because we'd be here for another hour, but at the highest level, you're creating because your business has a communication system designed to move the market. And that brings me back to the conversation with my mentor. Remember what he told me? Business isn't about money, it's about trust and reputation. The investor who spent decades developing the reputation eventually reached a point where opportunities started finding him. Think about what that could mean for your business. What happens when content creates that same effect? What if prospects started coming to you and saying, hey, I've been watching and listening to you for months now. I know exactly what you can do for me and exactly how you can help me get to that next step. It might be a video you recorded 2 years ago. Most of you might watch my long form content for 7 to 8 minutes on average, and you're not just watching, you're spending time with me to appreciate what I think, how I think, and how it could be of value to you. Short form content only averages maybe 8 seconds, but it helps people see your name on repeat. They serve different purposes, and you need both. And so if you need help with that, check out the playbook. It's in the description. All right, so here's one final part of my mentor statement I don't want you to miss. The right audience will spend whatever amount is necessary to achieve the right solution. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean everybody can afford everything. It means price resistance often changes when certainty changes. Think about your own behavior. When something feels speculative, like gas going up at the pump, even $100 can feel expensive. When something feels essential, $10,000 can feel relatively inexpensive to the problem. That's why trust matters so much. Your content should help someone understand the cost of their problem, the opportunity they're missing, the transformation that's really possible through the mechanism that you have, and they can trust that you are going to help navigate them through those. When those beliefs align, sales becomes a completely different conversation. You don't need more pressure. So, if there's anything to take away from this video, I want you to remember what an entrepreneur with almost 50 years of business experience told me, right? Business is not about selling products or services. It's about trust. It's about reputation, right? It has little to nothing to do with money at all. And every piece of content you publish is either adding to that trust and reputation or doing nothing for it, or even taking away from it. Stop asking yourself, what should I post today? And start asking, what does my market need to believe? And if you need help doing this, again, check out the Brand and Demand Playbook, link in the description. It will help you clarify who you serve, strengthen your message, connect your content to your offer, and begin building the system behind your growth. You can download it, link in the description down below. And if this video gave you a different perspective on content, comment one word below, trust. Like and subscribe to this video. Send this to a business owner who wants to use their social media to get more clients. And remember, don't just create more content, create more trust. Keep making, keep creating, and keep showing up with purpose. And I'll see you in the next one. God bless. Peace.